Apparently, pain isn't allowed to be private anymore. It needs an elevator pitch and an Instagram post. Here's the thing. We were taught that pain is supposed to transform us, but maybe some pain doesn't turn into purpose. Maybe it just stays. And maybe it doesn't need to be turned into a story. Now, the minute that life punches you in the throat, somebody is already leaning in with that concerned head tilt and fake therapy voice, right? Okay, but what did you learn from this? I was laid off in January 2024, and for the last year and a half, I couldn't even get an interview. Just silence. Ghosted by companies, ignored by recruiters. Like my whole career has completely died overnight. Everyone keeps asking me what I learned, and honestly, I didn't learn a damn thing. I just hurt. I didn't walk away with some profound takeaway. I walked away with questions, with grief, with rage, with a broken sense of trust. That's it. There was no deeper meaning, no closure arc, no spiritual epiphany while staring out of a window in soft lighting and a $42 candle called I'm Fine that smells like resentment and patchouli oil. It happened, it wrecked me, and I had to keep going anyway. But apparently just surviving isn't enough anymore. You're supposed to turn your heartbreak into a transformation story, wrap it up with a bow, and end it with, anyway, here's what I've learned about boundaries and essential oils. After 54 years, I've learned that healing doesn't always mean closure. Sometimes it means that you just didn't let your pain make you mean. Now, it doesn't have to teach you a damn thing. Sometimes shit just hurts and that's it. Now, there's a reason that we keep trying to turn survival into a story, because we were sold a lie about what pain is supposed to do for us. We're going to get into that later, and when we do, you're going to think to yourself, damn, that seems way too ordinary to be this dangerous. Somewhere along the way, pain stopped being something that you survive, and it became something that you're expected to perform. It is no longer enough to fall apart quietly. Now you're supposed to guide everyone through the stages, like it's an escape room and you're the frappin' team lead with the clipboard. Like your tragedy needs a LinkedIn header and a hashtag strategy. Break up with someone? Ooh, okay, sorry. Write a post about how you're rediscovering yourself. Honey, it's not grief. It's a pivot. Lose your job? Okay, cool. Well, here's your reminder to post a 900-word essay on LinkedIn about how getting fired was the push that you needed, typed next to a half-eaten gas station burrito and a browser tab that's open to cheap healthcare insurance. Because nothing says healing like a professional headshot and the phrase, I'm thrilled to announce my next chapter. Now they mean well, but someone is going to inevitably say, maybe it was a blessing in disguise. Ma'am, the disguise worked too well. It looked like a layoff and smelled like panic, and it came with a side of expired Cobra. When I got laid off, I didn't write a manifesto or find some perfectly packaged purpose. I rediscovered some things, sure, but like in between panic spirals and copious amounts of coffee. I was pissed. I still am. I can't look at LinkedIn without breaking into hives and mentally ranking which ex-coworkers I'd like to haunt. There was no glow up, no Instagram ready comeback, just the hard, ugly truth. I was broken. I was hurting. And damn, that was okay. What's one thing that you're still trying to turn into a lesson when maybe it just hurt? Let me know in the comments. Now, I had to lie to people and tell them that I was fine, like I believed that something better was going to come along. Now, maybe it will, maybe it won't. Honestly, my career does feel over, and truthfully, I might never get over that. But sometimes the pain just sits there. It doesn't move. It doesn't teach. It just becomes a part of your landscape. It just squats in your life like a bad roommate that leaves dishes in the sink. And you have to keep walking through it, around it, over it, sometimes dragging it like emotional luggage that you can't afford to check. And just when you finally accepted that the pain might be permanent, someone comes around asking if it sparked your spiritual upgrade. No, Carol, it sparked my raging insomnia and a recurring DoorDash charge. We have turned suffering into something that you have to extract value from. Even therapy speak is morphing into something completely unrecognizable. And if you're not using the right words, then you're doing it wrong. You're not devastated. You're in your transformation era. You're not collapsing. You're processing a soul realignment. You're not numb. You're reclaiming your nervous system. Pain doesn't just get to be pain anymore. It has to mean something. It has to teach. It has to perform. You can't just hurt. You have to package it. Document the devastation. Format the fallout. Pain has to have a logo, a color palette, and maybe even a newsletter. And merch. But some pain isn't a teachable moment. It's not a brand strategy. It's not a step in your glow up. It's the end of something. And that deserves silence or rage or grief. Healing used to be something private. Now it's a job description, one that you're supposed to manage, document, and deliver like you're up for some kind of promotion. Like you're supposed to wake up, check your trauma inbox, and start replying to old childhood wounds like they're flagged emails from your inner child marked urgent. It's not enough to be surviving. You're supposed to be doing the work, which from what I can tell means journaling while you're crying, crying while you're meditating, and meditating while doing those insane ice water plunges in a tub full of your own shame like some little popsicle of unresolved grief. Have you seen those, by the way, those ice tub videos? People like willingly sit in freezing water with dead eyes and motivational captions like, pain is temporary. No, Chad. Frostbite is forever. Put on a robe. It's just one more thing from my nope list. And if you're not journaling, meal prepping, cold plunging, affirming, and deep breathing through every intrusive thought like it's a Pilates move, then are you even trying? And don't even think about healing privately. No, 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 no. That is suspicious. If you're not updating everyone on your emotional progress like it's some kind of Kickstarter campaign, people are going to start to wonder if you're doing it wrong. We've made healing performative, strategic, aesthetic. For a long time, I wasn't building a new life. I was just eating string cheese in bed, watching the Golden Girls and hoping that no one would ask me how I was. Real healing doesn't look like a curated glow up. It looks like forgetting to eat, crying at a tire commercial, canceling plans, and then crying about being alone. Again, all while holding a microwave dinner that you've reheated 3 times and you still haven't touched. And the worst part, if you stop performing your progress, even for a minute, people are going to assume that you've backslid, that you must not be doing the work. But what if the work is just surviving the day without unraveling? What if healing isn't some curated journey? What if it's messy and slow and quiet and sometimes completely invisible? You don't have to prove that your pain is productive. You don't owe anyone a redemption arc. No one gave me a gold star for getting out of bed, and honestly, that's fair. But don't ask me to narrate my pain like it's the opening to a Netflix docuseries. Sometimes the best that you can do is just to keep showing up, unfixed, unfiltered, and still here. And that's enough. But what if the hardest part of pain isn't feeling it? What if there's something that's even more painful? There are days when the hardest part of grief isn't the pain. It's the expectation to perform it. You're not just supposed to feel better. You're supposed to look good doing it. Curated grief, branded breakdowns, personal growth, but make it cinematic. Healing has an aesthetic now. Neutral tones, diffused lighting, and the vibe of someone who's alphabetized their coping mechanisms but still Googles, "Am I okay?" twice a week. For real though, it's not healing unless it looks like a West Elm catalog and smells like eucalyptus. There's this pressure to outwork your emotions, to prove that your pain isn't a problem. It's a feature, a value add, trauma with turnaround time. People will literally burn out trying to make the most of their breakdowns. They'll schedule 5 a.m. gratitude walks and call it a breakthrough, rebrand crying as emotional exfoliation, and start a podcast called Grieve Big or Go Home. They call it resilience, but it's just emotional outsourcing. You move through it, but the layout is different now. You're still here, you're just reassembled, like emotional Tetris. But some of the pieces don't fit anymore. Sometimes pain isn't a phase, it's a full shift. And the real courage isn't overcoming it, it's letting it rearrange you without demanding a freaking lesson in return. You don't have to be productive while grieving. You don't have to perform your recovery. It seems like the bravest thing that you can do is to face your pain, but what if I told you that there was something even braver than that? There's this quiet pressure, especially when you've been gutted, to prove that you're okay now. Right? Not just functioning, but polished. Not just breathing, but optimized. Not just coping, but glowing. Because if you're still messy, still unsure, still flinching when someone chirps at you, "Oh, everything happens for a reason," then people start looking at you like you're the problem, like you just didn't understand the assignment. Here's the thing. Healing is not an assignment. It's not homework for the broken. Sometimes nothing changes. No clarity, no epiphany, no aha moment that just fixes your life. It's just you dragging yourself forward with whatever's still working. And that's not a failure. That's survival. That's a miracle in sweatpants. Now, I'm still walking through the fog some days. There's no magical moment where everything suddenly made sense. Most days I'm on autopilot, wondering when the hell it'll get easier or if it ever will. My future right now is so uncertain, and I am scared every single day. But some days, survival isn't about breakthroughs or growth. It's about endurance. It's about showing up. It's about acceptance. We've been sold this idea that growth always looks like blooming, right? Sometimes growth is whisper screaming at your insurance portal while eating cold spaghetti in the dark and wearing only one sock. By the way, I do offer one-on-ones if you need to talk it out. And if you like, we can just spend the whole time talking about your sock. That's a totally valid choice. Sometimes it's brushing your teeth with tears in your eyes and still going to the DMV. Sometimes it's toast. Again, sometimes it's texting "can't tonight" and then not following it with a massive paragraph of apology. That's not avoidance, that's resource management. That's wisdom. That's knowing your limits and respecting them. It's adulting for the emotionally concussed. You don't owe anyone your redemption story. You don't have to prove your pain is productive. You don't owe people an inspirational version of your devastation. Some pain doesn't teach you jack. It doesn't reveal your path. It doesn't whisper affirmations and soft focus montage, right? It just walks in, makes a freaking mess of your life, and then bounces. No warning, no cleanup, no passive aggressive sticky note. And then somehow you're expected to turn that into a comeback story? Nah. What if your survival isn't a comeback story? What if it's just something that happened? Not every scar wants a spotlight. Not every ending needs a takeaway. You're allowed to say, it happened, I'm hurt, and I'm still in it. Some pieces don't heal, they just become a part of you. That's not failure. That's not a missed opportunity. That's the truth, even if no one claps, even if no one is watching. What if surviving quietly is the loudest thing that you've ever done? Is that wrong? Is it still a victory if it's silent? There's no applause for getting through the day without unraveling in public. No trophies for brushing your teeth. No confetti for just showing up. But just because it's quiet doesn't mean it's not powerful. Maybe you're not thriving right now. Maybe you're not healed or fixed or even close. Maybe you're just waking up, feeding the dog, and doing the best that you freaking can. You don't have to prove that you're healing. You just have to keep going with the pieces that you have left. And maybe that quiet, cracked, un-Instagrammable survival isn't a comeback. It's just something that's happened. That's not failure. That's not weakness. That's what it means to live through it. And that is the whole damn point. That is the victory. I have spent so long trying to make the pain mean something, trying to turn it into a thesis, a punchline, or a freaking character arc. But what if it doesn't mean anything? What if the only thing that matters is that I survived? And what if that survival, that messy, quiet, unfinished survival, isn't the end of the story? What if this whole time while we were trying to heal enough to live, we were supposed to be living anyway? We're going to get so into that right here.